Canada through their life's work. Jack Graney himself was a native of St. Thomas, Ontario, who followed up a stellar career with Cleveland to become the first ex-player to make the transition to the broadcast booth. He was the play-by-play voice of the team from 1932 to 1953. Nominations for the Jack Graney Award are open, and the award is not limited to any specific form. In fact, past winners have included Allison Gordon, Dave Van Horn, Tom Cheek, Alan Simpson, Bob Elliott, Richard Griffin, Jeff Blair, and W.P. Kinsella. This year's award went to a member of the media whose road to the Hall of Fame was not exactly linear. Perhaps it shouldn't be surprising that one of the most unique voices in Canadian sports journalism took a somewhat unconventional path to a remarkable career. From a baseball-obsessed childhood on the family farm to a career as a small-town newspaper reporter, in his words, cranking out stories about local politics on a battered typewriter at the Newmarket era, to 24 years with the journalism program at Centennial College, then his dream job covering so many of the magic moments for the Toronto Blue Jays and beyond in baseball as a writer and photographer for 20 great years. First for the National Post and then with The Athletic. And maybe that's why John's work always had a slightly different perspective that you didn't want to miss. Maybe it's just because, quite simply, he's a great reporter, a wonderful writer, a memorable mentor to those on his beat, and most deserving of this award. I'm told John doesn't like a lot of attention, a lot of fuss, so I imagine today is just going to blow his mind. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and welcome the winner of the Jack Graney Award, Mr. John Lott.
Tempted to leave it at what she said. First off, thanks to the selection committee for deeming me worthy of this award. It kind of puts a bow on 50 years in journalism, and of course the last 20 when I covered baseball. I'm up here obviously because I used to write about baseball, but the journey that got me here started because I just loved playing baseball. And I played it from the time I was a kid until the time I ran out of gas at 55. And I still miss playing after all these years. Yes, there are a lot of years since I was 55. And I especially miss catching. I really love catching. So I guess it followed that when I got the Blue Jays gig, I occasionally indulged my partiality to catchers. They love to talk about their work, and they have a lot to talk about because it's a complicated job. Let me give you one example. One of the most educational and informative interviews I ever did was in spring training of 2018 when I asked Russ Martin if he'd sit down with me and talk catching so I could do a story explaining what his job was about. And he was happy to do it. We talked for 45 minutes at his locker. Shortly after we started, his backup catcher, Luke Maley, sat down at the next locker. And for the next while, I asked a few questions, but mostly I just listened to their conversation as they bounced off each other, talking about the nuances of their trade. And, you know, some of the things I learned from that, and some of you ex-players probably know some of these things, but Luke told me that the strike zone for many umpires is more like an oval than a rectangle. And Russ told me that if he could make a close pitch pop in his glove, he might get a called strike. And Luke added this: every catcher knows that when there's a big lefty at the plate, the strike zone moves outside 2 or 3 inches. The more I listened, the more questions I had, and the more they seemed to enjoy explaining things. And I love doing stories like that, finding out cool stuff and telling readers about it. And fundamentally, that's what a reporter's job is all about. No matter whether you're covering politics or business or sports. And it starts with curiosity. Journalists everywhere follow the same process. I never thought I did anything special. So when Scott Crawford called to tell me that I was getting the Jack Graney Award, I was shocked. And later when I looked at the list of previous winners, I felt kind of like an imposter. But I am truly grateful. It was just amazing and humbling to learn that a committee of previous winners were welcoming me into their membership. On a personal note, I'm delighted to have some family here to share this day with me. My son Ethan Lott, my daughter Joanna Lott, and my daughter-in-law Kat Botchford. My son Derek Botchford sends good wishes from northern BC. My kids: Ethan is a business journalist, Joanna is a speech language pathologist, and Derek runs a fishing lodge. My kids just keep making me proud. And I'm proud too of my son Jason Botchford, an award-winning hockey journalist in Vancouver. Jason died in 2019, 3 years after the death of his mother, my wife Nancy. I dearly wish Nancy and Jason were with me here today, but I'm glad that Kat, Jason's widow, is here channeling his spirit. Jason would have loved this. The Jack Graney Award, as Hazel told you, references a winner's contribution to the game of baseball in Canada, and to that I can only say that whatever small contribution I've made, Baseball Canada has repaid me many times over. It was a privilege to do what I did for a living. I never took that for granted. And finally, whatever effect my writing had, I hope it conveyed the same passion for the game that I felt back when I was young, crouching behind home plate, trying to shepherd some scatter-armed pitcher through a leather ruffle. That was hard work, but it sure was fun. And today they're giving me this award just for doing something I love. Go figure. Thank you.
Your ticket comes with a plaque, John. You can't leave without the plaque. All right, hang on just a second. We're going to take a couple of photos with our chair, Jeremy Diamond. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, our Jack Graney Award winner, Mr. John Lott.